Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making for you a buttermilk banana bread. I'm really excited for a couple different reasons to be sharing this recipe with you. First, I'm going to be using the butter and buttermilk that I made in one of my previous videos. I'll have a link for you at the end of this one if you'd like to check that out too. And second, I'm going to be able to teach you a little bit about how a lot of pastries are leavened, or how their batters or their doughs rise when they're baking. These two ingredients here you're probably familiar with, baking powder and baking soda. You'll see these typically in pastry recipes, and they are used to leaven batters and doughs. Now, there's only one difference between these two ingredients, and that is acid. Both of them are sodium bicarbonate, but baking powder includes an acid. And this is because for sodium bicarbonate to have its most leavening ability, or its ability to create gas, it needs an acid along with it. That's why most pastries that don't include a lot of acids will use baking powder. This recipe is kind of unique because it has a lot of lactic acid through my homemade buttermilk. So I'm actually only going to need to use baking soda. So, to summarize it, most pastries are going to need baking powder to be able to leaven them properly. But if you have a recipe that includes a lot of acid, lemon cakes, things like that, all you're going to need, baking soda. So let's get started measuring our ingredients. Also, get your oven preheated to 350, and let's get started. So I'm going to be using these bananas. As you can see, they're kind of past their due date. They're really just falling apart. But that means that they're going to be super sweet, and that you're going to be able to taste them a lot more in a dish like this. It's got a lot of other ingredients. You're ultimately going to need 1 cup of smashed up banana. So I like to smash up a few of them in a bowl and then transfer them into a cup to see if they're the right amount. And you can smash this down to a puree, but you can also do a light smash so there'll be some banana chunks in your bread. I kind of like it a little chunky, so I'm not going to go much further than that with my smashing. Seems like 2 bananas will be perfect amount. Got lucky. For our dry ingredients, we're going to need 2.5 cups or 300 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and a little bit more than 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon. And I like to put this through a sift just to aerate those dry ingredients, get them to start mixing together, and also to eliminate any particulate that might be in the flour. Next up is 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, 1/2 cup of white sugar, 2 eggs, throwing those shells into the sink, 3 points, about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Make sure to use the good stuff here. Don't get imitation. 1/2 cup of melted butter, and a cup of buttermilk. And go ahead and use store-bought if you don't want to make it homemade, but it really is delicious. And here's a lineup of all of our ingredients, getting ready to go into the mixer. I'm going to put in our 1 cup of smashed banana, half a cup of melted butter, our 2 eggs along with the vanilla extract, and our 2 sugars, white and brown, half cup each. I'm going to lightly incorporate these ingredients, trying not to overmix them, but just to really get them incorporated. Takes no time at all. Then I'm going to add in that buttermilk, 1 cup. Also give that just a slight little mix, not too much. And now the most important part, I'm going to add in the dry ingredients all at once. And because I don't want a whole lot of gluten to be able to form in this dough, I'm not going to mix it that much. Because this is supposed to be more of a cakey texture, if gluten is able to form by us over mixing, you're going to lose that cakey texture and it's going to turn more into kind of like a pasty bread. Give it a few pulses. The whole idea is mix as few times as possible just to get everything incorporated. I'm actually even going to stop it there, and I'm going to finish it with a spatula. All right, give it a few folds by hand just at the end to incorporate that last little bit of flour. But the whole idea here, as few mixes as possible. That is looking fantastic. All right, so the last thing that we need to do is put it into our pan. And I have here a 5 by 9 inch loaf pan. And I rubbed the inside of it with a little bit of canola oil and then dusted flour into it to hopefully mean that our bread won't stick. Just want to pour this in here. Try to get every last bit that you can. This isn't really the best spatula, it's kind of firm. All right, so this is going to go into a 350-degree oven, and it'll take about 60 to 70 minutes to cook. And we'll test it by sticking in either a bamboo skewer, toothpick, or even a knife. So after this bakes up, I'll be back to show you what it looks like. All right, look at that. My bread's been in here for about 60 minutes so far, so I'm going to give it a little tester. Just going to stick a butter knife down into the center of it, see if it'll come out clean. Nope. Still kind of goopy, so I'm going to give it another, I'd say 7 to 10 minutes. Okay, with a little bit of extra time, this is looking excellent. Ready to cool. I did have to leave my bread in for about 10 more minutes than I originally thought, so altogether it was 17 extra minutes of baking time, but it is perfect right now. And when a butter knife is inserted in the center, it comes out with just a little bit of sticky crumbs on it, not actual batter. So I'm gonna let this cool for about 30 minutes and then I'm gonna come back to taste. The long wait is finally over and it is my favorite time. Time to cut and taste this bad boy. The one last hurdle we have to overcome is see if my greasing and flouring of my pan works and it comes out of this pan in one piece. Fingers crossed. Oh, feels good. Perfect. Excellent. I'll get rid of this rack. Put him right down on a cutting board. Oh my gosh. He smells so good. Let's give him a beautiful cut and then a taste. I have always been such a huge fan of banana breads because they are so sweet and sticky. And to be honest with you, I love the ends because those pieces also have the most crispy bits on them, which to me is the best part. Oh wow. And if you can see it, hopefully you can, there are little chunks of banana in this bread because I didn't smush up that banana too much. Those are going to be delicious. Oh boy, I have really been looking forward to this moment. I was watching bananas browning on the counter, just waiting for the right day. I'm so glad it was today. Very moist. It's still a little bit warm. Some more of that homemade butter would be excellent on it. Because we didn't overmix that batter, it's got a lovely, light, crumbly texture with just a little bit of spring to it. Not dense or overwhelming at all. Beautiful crumb. This would be a perfect addition to a breakfast, a little snack in the afternoon, or even on a charcuterie board if you want to add a sweet bread to go with some cheeses. Delicious. I'm going to go finish this piece. Thanks so much for cooking with me. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for cooking with me today. Stay tuned for the next episode and don't forget to like and subscribe.